Hello everyone. I am working on a little bit of an emergency repair for my trusty Audio Precision ATS-1. That's why it's upside down at the moment. It had started giving me an error every time I would power it on, telling me it was on its default settings. And there is a backup battery that normally sits right about here. It is a Sanyo ML2430. This is a 3-volt lithium-ion rechargeable battery. And I managed to break the little tabs off. This was, let's see here, which side? This was on this side. I managed to break this little tab off of here in case I needed to reuse these tabs. Trying to find these batteries is damn near impossible. You can find some online, but not many of them were out there. Instead, I found this battery from DigiKey. It's a lithium 3-volt. It is a VL3032 battery. It's a 3-volt lithium. It's listed as a rechargeable battery made by Panasonic. And it's designed to sit on the board this way. This tab normally is bent over at an angle, and this little tab on the back sticks up. And so I did a little modification to it. I bent this tab flat, and then I took the tab off the other battery and soldered a little bar on there, so that way I could put this right into the socket here and get this hopefully fixed and up and running again. I don't know what will happen now that this battery has been out. I have not powered it up. But I looked on the web. I could not find any information on how to replace the battery. And so I basically just had to take the bottom cover off of the AP here. And the microprocessor is down here, and that little battery is right here. It had just started to corrode, but I was able to get in here and clean up the contacts. Thankfully, it didn't leak too bad. Some of the times these batteries will corrode, and it'll corrode the board and eat through all kinds of stuff. I think I caught it just in time. So if you are working on an Audio Precision ATS-1 or the portable one, it is the same unit, just in a portable case. And you get an error when you power it up that says something about default settings used, and it won't remember your settings. It is this little coin cell battery that is normally right in here. So let me get this new battery installed, and we'll power it up, and fingers crossed, hopefully it works. Okay, I realize I'm taking you guys through this backwards, but I thought I would show you what you need to do to get the board out of here. So first, there are 2 screws on this GPIB board here, and then this board will lift off. There's a socket and pins on the bottom. When you go to put that back in, you need to make sure that you get those pins and that socket line back up. And it fits pretty tight here with the battery, but I think it's going to be okay. Then there are screws here, here. These 2 standoffs need to come off. This screw, there's a screw that's hidden down there, another screw over here. You do not need to take these screws off. In fact, there are nuts on the bottom side, and if you take it off, you gotta then, put it back together again, but you don't need to take those off. But there is a screw here, there is another hidden screw down here, and a screw over here. You'll need to undo this cable, undo this cable. This ribbon cable plugs in here, and it's got 2 release latches here you just undo. This flexible cable is very fragile, and you need to carefully grab it with 2 fingers on either side and pull this connector out this way. Do not try and just flip the board over with that connected, because you will end up damaging that for sure. Power connector here. Then over here you've got the transformer connector and the speaker connector here, and I think that's everything. So okay, new battery is installed. I need to get in there and clean up that flux a little bit, but it wasn't too terrible. I know it's not the greatest solution for doing that battery. I thought about trying to remote mount it and run wires over, but I thought I'd give this a try. One of the things I want to warn you about is that the traces on the bottom side of this board are tiny, microscopic. So when you're trying to take that battery out, be real careful, because you could damage the holes, you could damage the through plates. I don't know how many layers this board is. I don't know if there's connections in the middle of the board, but be real careful that you don't damage the board trying to get that battery out. While the battery was in, I actually took a screwdriver and pried these tabs off of the battery, so that way I could get the battery out of the way and then work on carefully removing the tabs separately from the board, and that seemed to be the best way to do it. So I think that'll work. It's not the prettiest solution, but I think it will work. Let's give it a try. Okay, I have it back together again, and fingers crossed. I do expect we'll get the error message when we first power it up, but fingers crossed that it powers up. So let's see what happens. That's the error message that I was getting before. It would say using default settings. So that's good. I could just hit any button here and it should go away. Okay, it looks like it's back up. And let's see here. There is a way to do a self-test, and I have to look at the manual again to remember how to get that to happen. Oh, that looks better. And the other things that I've done to this analyzer is the factory fan. This is the factory fan here. It was starting to fail. It's a 24-volt fan, and it was starting to make a lot of noise. And so I've used 2 of these, oh, I forget what brand they are, Silent X fans, stacked up here. These were the quietest fans that I could buy. And 2 of them have the same airflow as the one fan, stacked up like this. And I did this modification on one of these. I had a different one of these once before, and I think I added a resistor over here. I don't remember. To slow the fans down a little bit so they wouldn't be quite so noisy. These fans are really pretty quiet, so it's not such a big deal. But I am happy that it has powered up. And so the real trick here, the real question is, if we power it off, we let it sit for just a second, and we power it back up, will it come back up and remember its settings? Look at that, it does. All right, so I am very happy about that. Let's see if we can tilt her up here. And there's the battery. You can see it's a pretty tight squeeze in there. But that battery does seem to fit and work, and we should be good to go. So sorry I didn't take you along when I tore this thing apart. It really wasn't that big of a deal to get the covers off of it. But it was more of a big deal to try and figure out how I was going to fix that battery in there, seeing as that the factory one, you just can't get it in that form factor. I can get the same battery, but it just wasn't in the same form factor. This was as close as I could get in that form factor, and I think that's worked out pretty good. So that should be a good repair. So, all right, everybody, thank you very much, and I hope this helps you if you ever need to replace the battery in your ATS-1 or Audio Precision Portable one.